people and most threads don't really need to reply every 1 to 5 seconds or whatever. So that's why we increased the post timers. And again, people scream bloody murder. God forbid you can't post more than once a minute. And then, last but not least, generals, generals coupled with kind of what I just talked about as far as the chat, really have become, chat rooms. Generals have kind of become these little hangouts. And, this demand for kind of long-term recurring discussions is relatively new to 4chan. It's probably 3 to 4 years old, maybe. I don't think it's more than 5 years old, but, generals, you didn't really used to see them nearly as much until the last few years. And we really tried to push them off. Team 4chan, we were not fans, but as it turns out, the tribe has spoken, and for the most part, we were kind of overruled by the community. And you see just thousands of these threads being posted every day because there are a few hundred users for every one of these threads that just want them to exist and want to basically have their own little kind of chat room. And the thing that bothers me the most about generals is that they tend to be very much like a chat room, very low quality. Not all of them, but a handful of them, and they tend to be kind of cliquey, not really welcoming to kind of outsiders, or they have kind of like resident trip code user or two that kind of mucks things up. And for every general, especially when there's a general kind of discussing a topic that's not really say it's like a show that's not airing right now, or a video game, or just I don't know, VG has some pretty notorious ones, but again, the biggest challenge with the site has been that for every thread that's posted, one thread gets removed. One entire thread gets deleted, and before we had our limited retention, it got deleted, right? And before there were archives and extensions with automatic redirects and stuff, that was it kind of became a pain point whereby again, if a board had 10 to 20 generals at any given time, that could represent 10 to 20% of the content of the board basically was that. And again, generals are harder to kind of push off the board because they only need a few people posting in them. And so other threads would kind of be 20% of say the threads on a board were kind of spoken for by these generals. And so that's where kind of our frustration has come with them. But again, I think that the community has spoken, and they're kind of here to stay. It's for as much as we tried to kind of accommodate them or kind of push them off at first, there's only so much we can do about that. So again, the site has changed so much, and it's still an image board, obviously, but those kind of three things, I think archives, extensions, and kind of generals have really changed the the kind of the tenor of the community and the kind of conversation that takes place. And that's just a natural kind of evolution, I guess. And there's again not a whole lot that we can do about it at this point, other than just try our best to kind of accommodate it. What new opportunities do you foresee for 4chan? Number 1059. I've already commented on that. Again, I think I would love to see a native mobile app and just accommodating more more communities. 4chan is very editorial in that I've chosen essentially all 64 as of today boards. So I think more kind of community input on that. But again, all the sites that have again going back to 5chan, I'm saying again way too much, but it's kind of my nervous tick, but or my bad habit, my bad speech habit. All these sites that have just these gajillion niche boards, I think again it fans out the community way too much, and you don't have that critical mass, and it really kind of creates a pretty poor experience. And so we've always tried to keep the site as general as possible and kind of concentrate as many people as possible into as few places as possible. But I think again there's more that can be done there. What should the relationship of 4chan be with sister sites like Anonkun or r/radio radio /a radio? I don't know how I should pronounce that. We've been not so great about that in the past. We've for various reasons. We have a very, very, very liberal kind of blanket no advertising policy. You just can't promote. Again, going back to what I said, if you've been listening for the past 3 hours, going back to what I said hours ago, 4chan is one of the only websites on the entire internet where you can blast out a message to thousands of people in seconds and without developing a following. And that's really lucrative. That's why we have spam, right? I mean, that's why we had a lot of automated spam before CAPTCHA, because that's great. Again, you can't really do that anywhere else in the web. Again, you can't, on /B, you can get a message in front of 10,000 people and like, boom, the snap of your fingers. I mean, usually about 20, 30 plus thousand people are browsing Fortune at any given time. For a long time, a lot of those eyeballs, about 10,000, would just be on the index page of B. And so B represented this incredible opportunity for spammers and for people who just, again, want to, kind of use B as their personal army, or kind of, capture their attention to do that. And so we've adopted this very, very strict kind of no advertising policy as a result of that, because again, you don't, just as we were talking about earlier with kind of /B and activism, it's like nobody has that right to kind of blast out to everybody for a purpose, kind of, or with a means to an end, or with an agenda. And advertising represents an agenda, and so we've included, unfortunately, it's so hard to draw that line, kind of to establish a bright line policy of, oh, well, you can advertise this, but you can't advertise that. You can, it's impossible to kind of account for all of those corner cases. And so we've just decided to ban it outright. And so you see things like, the /A radio, I don't know what an Ankun is, but radio and other kind of community projects like that get caught under, or actually the 4chan Cup is actually the best example of this. 4chan Cup kind of get caught in this kind of crossfire, or be collateral damage, because it's just so hard for us. I mean, we don't, it's like some sites have a do not post list, but we don't want to have a white list of, oh, you can't advertise except if you're one of these 5 things, because how is that fair? And again, it's just the overhead and the burden of maintaining that list and enforcing that, and it's just not something we've ever had the want or the really capability to do. And so we've just avoided it altogether by saying can't advertise, period. Anything that looks like it, you can't do it unless you buy advertising for 10, 20 bucks. So so it's a bummer. I mean, that we haven't, we've really never supported like third-party endeavors. Maybe that's something that my successors will change. If you look at other sites like Reddit, and they're a lot more friendly to third-party endeavors. And so so again, maybe that'll change going forward. Maybe it should change. We'll just have to see. I mean, it's at a certain point, it's out of my hands, but that's why we've had that policy. V saying your song, did you see Moot pay attention to us 1065? I did. I really appreciate that. I saw there was something on I think Bandcamp and something on YouTube. I really enjoyed it. I've been listening to a lot of the I think A is working on a song right now. I've really appreciated the cards that people sent me. It's it's been a tearjerker, so I really do appreciate that. Now I'm drinking a seltzer. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but somebody asked 1089 said, what is the significance behind heaven? Why heaven of all things? When you saged, is it something old from 2chan code? Also, why did you remove these IDs on B? Yeah, heaven comes from Nichan from 2ch. There's to best of my knowledge, at least. And we incorporated that. Some of the boards don't allow that. B did not allow it. B did allow it, whereas Soch does not. B doesn't have IDs, as you pointed out. B didn't have IDs for the longest time. B has alternatingly been a normal board. It's been forced anonymous. It's been forced anonymous with IDs. Now it's forced anonymous without IDs. So I've changed those. I used to have fortunes. B is this thing that's constantly changing, and I guess IDs have been on it for the better part of at least a year or two now, right? And I just decided to not just take them off and see how that would change things. I mean, B is kind of a petri dish and kind of a grand experiment, and so we used to do this all the freaking time when I was younger and had more time, and the community kind of responded very positively to it. But we'd constantly be kind of messing around with B, and just for various reasons that doesn't really happen as much anymore. But adding IDs and removing IDs is kind of in keeping with that tradition of kind of futzing around with with B to C